Hey girls, welcome back to the Feel the Smile podcast and YouTube channel. We are so excited to spend time with you guys today. Today we are talking all things friendships in college and young adulthood. Friendships are such a real struggle, but it doesn't have to be that way. And friendships are something that are essential in our walk with God, in our walk in life, and we need people and community to do life with. So we have asked you guys, what are some things y'all are practically struggling with? What are some specific scenarios that maybe you need some wisdom in? Any and all questions that you may have on friendship, we want to answer them for you today. And so I'm so excited to be here with Caroline. We're going to kind of share our experiences with friends from college to young adulthood, and then we have some questions that we're going to dive into.
Yeah. Do you have anything that you want to share first about your story with friendships? I
Yes.
feel like there are so many different stages of life that we go through as girls and friendships that come and go with that and with each season, some that are constant throughout all of those. What is like your story behind your friendships?
That's so great. So I remember growing up, I went to a really small school. So the people that were in my class in seventh grade science class were the same people in my class in 12th grade math class, So I feel like outside of moving to a new school at a young age, before I went to college, I had never really experienced like having to make new friends.
Yeah.
And so I think as a result of that, when you're in high school, the friends that you have honestly aren't even like up to your discretion. Like
Yeah.
it is just like who's around you, who's on your team, who's in your class, who's your neighbor. Like those are people that just become your friends. So I remember when I went to college, right before I started at Sanford, I was so nervous. Like I remember asking my mom, what if I don't make any friends? My mom, knowing how social I was like, Scarlet girl, like you're gonna be fine. But for me, like that was a real thing. I was like, what if I can't find friends? Where do I even look for friends? Where do I look for godly friends? By the grace of God, my first day of college, I literally met one of my best friends who's still my best friend today. But even through that, I went through a lot of challenging seasons with relationships in college. My personal story and like part of my testimony is when I went to college, I knew that I wanted to walk with God. I just wasn't really sure how to do that. I wasn't exactly sure how to find good, genuine relationships with people that also wanted that as well. That's one of our questions today is like, how do you find people that you have a genuine connection with? In college, you go to college and everyone's going to tell you that they love God, especially if you're in the South, but not everyone is necessarily like walking with him. So I went through some challenges of like having friends that said they loved God, but their weekend activities were different from what I wanted mine to be. Went through a season of doing those same weekend activities with them, but then found myself in a place, honestly, where I remember feeling so lonely, yet so surrounded by people. I had friends around me. I had people to go to dinner with. I had people to go on walks with, but people that truly wanted to pursue God the way that I wanted to was pretty like slim to none. And I remember feeling so lonely. In that season of my life, I remember realizing like, okay, like I'm gonna have to learn how to be content with just me and Jesus on a Friday night because what I was experiencing in my relationships, like we weren't gonna be doing the same things on the weekends. So through that season, like found some other godly friends in that season, learned a lot about finding value in all people. You can find a friend in the most unlikely person. But then fast forward to when I got to post grad and graduated from college, you're like kind of on the friend hunt all over again. When I graduated college, one of the biggest things that I think kind of helped save me from that was I joined like a post grad Bible study my senior year of college. Now, I ended up staying in the same city that I went to college in post grad, which kind of helped with that like bridge from one season to the other. But I also think like when you're a young adult and you're in a new city, you're in a new place, like you don't know where to look for friends, and that can be a really challenging season. It can lead you to isolation. It can lead you to just feel lonely, and honestly just believe a lot of lies from the enemy that maybe you're behind or don't have in your season, like what God has created for you to have. So my journey with friendships, it's kind of one of those that's been knowing that you needed them, but looking in all the wrong places, finally finding them and honing in on them, and looking in the right place for friendship and community.
Yeah, that's good. I feel like um I feel like kind of everyone, like I went to a big high school, 7A high school, where we had like 500 students. So, it was not as hard of a transition to go to college because my college wasn't, it wasn't like Tuscaloosa, like Alabama. It wasn't like thousands and thousands of students. So my class sizes were pretty similar to my high school. So it wasn't as much of a shock to be in a situation like that where it was like a big jump from like no people around me to a lot of people around me at school. But I feel like in high school, like everyone kind of finds their people and like sticks with them. Like I was with the same people for 13 years and everyone knew everybody even though we had a really big high school, but everyone just kind of like finds their clique and once you're with a group of people, it's very hard to change that group of
to
people
get
in
out of
high
that group of
school
people.
because everyone already has their people. So it's very hard to like jump ship when you're already like with a certain group of people.
You're like miles down the ocean
Yeah.
in a ship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I did a lot of different things in high school. I played multiple sports so that created me to be friends with a lot of different people. I wouldn't even necessarily say that they were like genuine friends. I would just say they were like I was just acquaintances with a lot of different people and a lot of different groups of friends. But I also still had like my core people that I would like. I always say my true friends are the people that I would spend the night with. Like if you're
Yes.
not going to spend the night with this person, y'all aren't really
You
friends.
don't know them.
No. So I was friends with a lot of people, but I would say it was very surface level. Like it was just because we were on the same volleyball team or, whatever it may be. Going to college, it wasn't as big of a transition because the class sizes were pretty much the same. So I was like, oh, like, I'll be fine. Even though it is a completely new season of life where you're basically having to start over, I had two people that I knew that were going with me to college from my high school. So because my college that I went to wasn't in the same town like Scarlet, like she went to college in our hometown. I didn't go to college in our hometown. So it was all fresh, all new, which is scary, but also kind of refreshing because I was like, I don't want to be in the same place. Like all of my high school was either going to Alabama or Auburn. I did not want to be with them anymore. As much as I like love the people from high school, I was like, I have been with them for 13 years. I want something new. I want something fresh. I want something that like I've never experienced before. So I went to college with two friends from high school and that was the only people that I knew. So getting plugged in college, finding like I did a sorority and I was like in a bunch of different like activities and clubs. To find people to connect with was like game changer for me to find friendships. With that, being in a sorority and being in college, we like the town that our college was in was a pretty small town. So everyone kind of like knew everybody. And like rumors would spread so fast and like everyone knows everything about everybody. And everyone is in the same place all the time. So being in a sorority, you're all doing the same things every single day together. You all have the same events to go to. You all have the same things that you have to do. You're all playing the intramural sports together. And so it's kind of in the same way as high school where like you kind of find your people and like that's who you're with all the time. That's who you room with when you're out of the dorms and like all of that. So I found some of my best friends in college. And that was like the best time of my life. You'll never get another time in your life where you're like living every single day with everyone and
Just
you
with
have
your friends.
no responsibilities at all. You're just like living it up.
It's the best.
And you get to come home to your best friends and you get to laugh and like have the best time every single day. You get to cook dinner together. You get to like watch Dancing with the Stars together. Like you'll never get that back. And so that is like some of my best memories are with my college friends and my college roommates. And I can still to this day say that like they are my best friends and like I love them so much and I am so grateful to have found the people that I found in college. But you also have people in college that you're friends with, I think, just because of the circumstances.
For sure.
Because like I said, you're all in the same place, you all do the same things. And then as a new post grad, you're kind of navigating and figuring out like, oh, like, were we just friends because we were doing the same things and that's all we had to talk about? Or like, we were doing, you know, the college things and like all the mundane things every single day, and that's why we were friends, but like it really didn't have any like substance to it. And so you kind of figure that out too post grad, which is like something that I'm navigating now and like figuring out. Like for Scarlet, it's different because everyone is here in Birmingham. For me, you know, some people might still be at college, which is not here, or we all went like separate ways after we graduated. And so you really figure out who your true friends are, and like people who genuinely still like check on you, still talk to you, still like want to know about your life. And then you kind of figure out the friends that are like, oh, like I think a lot of it was like I was reaching out to them, but like I wasn't getting poured back into, or you know, just like very surface level things like, oh, we don't really have that much to connect on now that I'm not in college, and they're still there, or, you know, they're still in that season of life, but I've outgrown that. And so, and that's okay. Like, it is okay to outgrow friendships. Like, that is not a bad thing. And you can still appreciate and be thankful for the time that you had with that person. Even like, there is no bad blood. There's nothing that went wrong, but like, people outgrow people, and that's okay. And so it is kind of like navigating after post grad, figuring out who your true friends are and who you want to stick with after that, because you might have people who are friends with you for just like your season of college and like those 4 years in that life, and then you have people that are friends with college, or you're friends with in college, and then they're going to be friends for the rest of your life. So it is a lot of different navigating and transitioning and change, but that's a good thing. And you kind of learn a lot more about your friendships and like about the people that you actually want in your life and the people that you genuinely appreciate and want to spend time with and like pour into, because they pour into you.
Yeah.
So
it's so true. And I love how our stories are so different, because we wanted to really create an episode that would be relevant no matter who is listening, whether you're in college, whether you're in post grad, whatever it may be, no matter what your kind of like friendship journey throughout life has looks like. I totally agree. Post grad is the second season of life, aside from the bridge from high school to college. I feel like from high school to college, you kind of expect some relationships to like die off. From college to post grad, there are relationships you thought would stay for forever that start to die off.
Yes.
And just like Caroline said, that is not bad.
Yeah.
It is very, very normal.
Yeah.
And one of our questions goes right along with this. But I had a friend tell me one time, like, friendships are for a season, a reason, or a lifetime. And post grad is the first time you ever experience that for yourself. They are for a season of middle school, a season of high school, a season of college. They are for a reason. One of my best friends, I remember in middle school, we became best friends because we would walk into the lunchroom together every single day. Our reason was we needed someone to walk into the lunchroom together, so we would walk together, and we became best friends. But then there's also friends that are there for a lifetime. And when you graduate college, you start to kind of slowly see like those friends rise to the surface. Like, who's calling and checking in on me even if I'm busy and don't respond? Like, who is it that I'm FaceTiming on the way home after work? You know, like you just kind of start to figure out and realize who those people are.
Yeah.
So I think that's great.
I feel like that's the hardest part, is because it can get overwhelming. It can get sad. It can get like discouraging, where you're like, I feel like I'm losing all these friends that like in college you were like, you're going to be the aunts to my kids one day.
Yeah.
But that was like you said, that was for a season. And then you kind of figure out who your people are after that, and after you're not living every single day together, because friendships like aren't just for convenience. They're during the hard times. They're during the times where you don't even want to talk to anybody and you just want to sit on the couch together and watch a movie, and you don't even have to talk.
You don't have to speak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that is probably like one of the hardest things too, is to be like, oh, maybe we're not going to be friends forever, but like I can still appreciate the time that we did have
For
together.
sure. And too, I mean, there will be moments where you'll get dinner with those people 3 years down the road and you'll be like, oh my gosh, like, God, I miss like hanging out with you and having fun with you. But then the reality of life sets in. It's like, okay, we live in two different places. Like, we live two different lives. And like you said, like, that's not bad. It can be sad and like disappointing at times, yes, but I've had so many friends like from high school that we've gotten together recently, and oh my
We should
gosh,
reminisce.
we laughed so much, and like we hardly ever see each other, and we live in the same town, but it doesn't mean that I'll ever forget like the good times that we've had together, and it doesn't mean you'll never have those with them ever again. So I love that. Okay, let's get started on some questions. You asked, we're gonna answer. We have kind of divvied up these questions between like a post grad question, a college question. Some of them are both. The first question that we have is a post grad question, and it says, "Why is it so hard to find friends in post grad?" This is probably the most frequently asked question any girl could ever have, especially when you are currently like living in the season of post grad. Like, why is that so hard? I think there's a few different reasons as to why it's hard. For the first time in your life, you're doing a routine you've never done before. Not only is the routine different, the routine is full. You're waking up at 7 a.m. and you're immediately going to work. You're working all day until 5 and you come home and you're exhausted. What do you do at 5 o'clock? You go home, you eat dinner, you might work out. And then by that time, it's 8 o'clock. And when you're exhausted all day long, after working a full-time job, you become a grandma and want to go to bed at 8:30. So I think the hardest thing in finding friendships in post grad is finding the time to find them, finding the time to attend a social event, finding a time to even look for the social event. It can be really hard, especially throughout the week. And then on the weekends, you might be going to travel and visit old friends. You might be busy doing something with your family and different things like that. So I think give yourself grace in your new routine of life to find friends. But then also the other side of that is for the first time in your life, you're having to put yourself out there in ways that aren't necessarily a group effort. So, like, you're having to attend things by yourself to find friends. You're having to go to dinner with people that maybe you would never go to dinner with, but they invited you, so you want to say yes. In college, you're putting yourself out there in levels of community, but it's also with like 10 of your friends or like 5 girls in your sorority or like this big group event that someone's putting on. Post grad, it kind of feels like that's the first season of your life where you kind of have to do those things alone. Even going to church on Sundays, like, which is honestly really hard. And there are Sundays that I go to church and I sit down and I'm like, bro, where is my husband? Like, why? I don't ever want to come to church alone ever again. But there, and those are just like literally real
They're
things
so real.
that can just be really hard. So I think why are relationships in post grad so hard? Because they take a ton of effort. They take a ton of effort in a season of life where you are newly exhausted because you've never done life like this ever before.
Yeah. I think it's hard too because like you said, sometimes the last thing you want to do after a day is like put more social energy out when you feel like you've been doing that all day and you're just like, I just want to sit and lay in my bed, take a shower, lay in my bed, watch my show and like just like rest and be with myself. But every single girl is going through that. So every single girl feels that. As much as you might feel like you have to like put on like your game face for a new friend, it's like we all are going through the same thing. We all know how that feels. So like just be real with like your life. I feel like that's one of the biggest things with girl friendships is we feel like we have to impress other girls or like put our best face on because we feel like everyone else has their life together and is perfect. But like deep down, none of us do. And everyone just kind of assumes that like girls are perfect.
Yeah.
But we're not. And that is one of the hardest things is putting the time and the effort into new friendships because building a friendship from the start is where it takes the most time and effort. And that's just probably just like the last thing that you want to do on a day. But when it comes to, oh, I'm going to have to go get dinner anyways, let me just ask if she wants to come with me.
Yeah.
You know,
that's so
or,
true.
you know, like I have to go grocery shopping. Like I'm a girl who's like, I want to do all of your hobbies with you. Like, I'm like,
Yeah, I'm
if
like,
you
let's
need to
do
go
life
shopping,
together.
I want to go with you.
Yeah.
If you have to go grocery shopping, I will push the cart. Like, I love like just like little things where like if someone's like, oh, like, hey, I have to go to this. Do you want to come with me? And I'm like, yeah, I want to come with you.
Yeah.
Like, yes. And I love when people think of me and they're like,
Yeah.
or they're like, hey, like, do you want to come over? And I'm like, yeah, when? And they're like, now. Like, yes,
Yeah, like
now.
the
Let me come over
spontaneous
now. Like,
things.
I think that's so fun. So like, even if it's literally like, hey, do you want to come over? Like, I'm cooking dinner and we can just watch a movie. That takes little to no effort, but taking the time to do that makes the world of difference in post
Yeah.
grad friendships.
It does. And I think too, like, even thinking like realistically and like from a budget standpoint, like none of us can afford to eat out with our friends every single night of the week. So like go grab coffee that's a third of the price, or go on a walk, or like Caroline said, like invite someone to like go grocery shop with you. Or if you found a friend that like loves Trader Joe's as much as you do, be like, wait, do you want to go together on Sunday night? We can do our grocery shopping. There's so many unique ways to spend time with people. I have found I love a walk with a new friend because you don't, it's kind of like a first date. Like you don't have to like stare at them the whole time.
Yes.
You can like find other things to talk about as you're walking, because you're not just like, okay, like what do I say next? What do I say next? And I think too, as you're looking for new friends, like find ways to find genuine interest in another person. That can be really hard when you feel like someone is like so different from you, but also like every single person on earth is created by God, and like we can find value in all people. And so finding like a common interest with someone that you're going to spend an hour with either way also really helps me in like navigating conversations and finding community post grad.
Yeah, that's really good.
Okay, next question.
I was about to ask you.
Let's go.
Okay, next question is for both our college and postgrad girls. I'm going to be kind of answering for the college side since I'm freshly out of it, and then Scarlett's going to answer for the postgrad. Our next question is, how do I know if a friendship is healthy? I feel like some of my relationships are one-sided. That's a good question.
That's a really
And
great
it's
question.
so real
That's a really great question.
for friendships.
Because I feel like post grad, you have to offer a new level of grace of the fact that people are busier than they've ever been.
Yes.
So just because she doesn't respond today doesn't mean she doesn't want to hang out with you. But at the same time, if you are the one that's like constantly reaching out over like a long period of time, like you don't ever want to be in a relationship where you feel like you're the one that's constantly giving.
If there's no
because
effort
when
from
you
both
are
sides.
constantly giving and there's no giving back or like being poured into, you're going to get burnt out in the relationship. You're going to be discouraged and frustrated. Now, I have friends that I've been friends with for 15 years, and like I will text Allie Mac 5 times in a row, but like I've known her long enough where like she's not responding, or she's not responding because she doesn't want to hang out with me. She probably didn't see it,
Yeah.
or is like teaching her fourth graders right now. So like
Yeah.
there's some situations where like you can be understanding of those things, but then there's others in like a new friendship or new relationship where like you deserve a friend that also wants to spend time with you,
Yeah.
and part of that will be them reaching out, even if it's as little as like, I have a friend and she's so sweet and texts me like, been thinking about you, miss you so much, like let's grab coffee soon. I'm like, oh my gosh, yes, like I've been thinking about you too, I just haven't texted you.
Yeah.
Would love to, and like we'll get something on the calendar.
Yeah.
On the note of a healthy relationship, one of my mentors in my life at the ranch has always grown all of us to know, and it is a quote where like you could ask any kid that lives at Big Oak Ranch and they would be able to finish this quote, and it's, show me your friends and I will show you your future. You have to surround yourself with people that you want to be like. I have a friend, and every time I'm with this friend, I'm like, God, I've got to be more like Isabella. Like every time I'm
Yeah.
with her, I'm like, she's literally an angel and so nice, and like I'm so mean. It's like what I feel like when I'm with her. And I'm like, I've got to be more like her. So she is someone where like she's a healthy relationship for me. She calls me higher. She grows me in my faith. Like we have spirit-filled conversations. There's other people in your life that will pull you down. Someone is either going to pull you up or they're going to pull you down. Think about what category the people in your life kind of fall into. And I think that's kind of how you can know if it's a healthy relationship or not. I had a friend when I was in high school that, I mean, I loved her to death, but she wasn't my like healthiest relationship. And I remember I had this moment where it's just like every time I was around them, I just felt like down. I felt discouraged. I felt insecure. And I remember I had this moment where I was like, who said I even have to be friends with this girl?
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah.
I don't have to be stuck in this unhealthy friend relationship. Like God has so much more for us in store with our relationships. We just have to be the one to make that decision. So ask yourself, like, does this person call you higher? Do you want to be more like them? How do you feel when you're around them? How do you feel when you leave them? Have they filled your cup or have they kind of like emotionally drained you? Those are great questions that I have to ask myself, especially in a super busy season of life where I'm having to be super intentional with who I'm spending my time with in terms of like friends that are going to refresh my soul. I think health in friendships is a little different than like health in like a relationship, because I feel like there's things that are almost even more tedious that you're just kind of looking for, like how is that person making you feel, what are they leading you to do, what is their idea of fun, does it align with yours, and is it healthy for you, are all just some great questions just to ask yourself.
I feel like too, I have a variety of friends that are friends for different reasons. So I have the girl that I go to when I'm like really struggling and need advice. I have the girl that I go to when like I just want to laugh. Or I have, like I have different friends for different reasons too at the same time, where like they all pour into me and I pour into them in different ways, which is good to have people who are kind of like round you out in different relationships. And like you said, it's it's hard to navigate and to come to terms with friendships that you feel like aren't pouring back into you, because you're like, I've worked so hard for this friendship and I really do care about this girl, but like I don't feel that being reciprocated. So that is tough, but that is kind of where you kind of have to like draw the line of like, is this something that I feel like is worth continuing to pour into? Like, do I feel like she might, like, if I have a conversation, will she kind of like do more because this is what I'm needing, or, vice versa? I also feel like so many girls, I know I'm this way, and I know a lot of my friends are this way. I try not to get upset when a friend doesn't answer my text, because 2 days later they'll be like, wait, I mentally responded to that and never actually
For sure.
hit send. I'm always the one who like reads a text and I'm like, oh, okay, I'll respond to that later. Like, it's not urgent. I'll respond to it later. And then I forget about it. And I'm like, wait, I'm so sorry. Like, I love you so much. I didn't mean to ignore
Yeah.
you. And so I have so many friendships that are like, even if they don't answer immediately, it doesn't mean that they don't care about me. It's just like they're just doing life and like forget to respond.
Yeah.
So like I also have to have grace with friendships, because I know I do that and I can't give a standard to other people that I don't keep myself.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, well, why haven't they answered me in 5 minutes? Well, I wouldn't do that. So
Yeah.
I can't keep that same standard if I don't do it myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like with relationships that are one-sided, that is kind of where you have to figure out your boundary with friendships. Like, I feel like everyone's is kind of different. And if you feel like it's been like 6 months where you've been constantly the one reaching out, y'all may still hang out, but every time y'all hang out, it's because you asked her to. Like, she's
Yeah.
never asking you to hang out, or she's never actually checking on you and what's going on in your life. You're always asking her. Like, I think that is kind of like where every single girl just kind of has to figure out like how much they need to be poured into. And at the same time, you might be getting poured into in other friendships that are like filling your cup. So you think that that's like, or that kind of masks not being filled by this one person, because you're filled in other areas. So you don't have to be filled by one other person, but kind of like looking deeper into like the friendships those friendships and like the meaning behind them.
That's great. And another thought to that is like, I have people in my life that I'm always the one to reach out because there's someone that I like look up to and want to spend more time with. But that's different from someone that's like your day to day like friend that you're like doing life with, and like the people that are in that kind of like bucket of your life, like you want them to just like be ones to reach out to because you want to find people that you both genuinely enjoy spending time with. It's like kind of when you're dating someone, it's like great if like you're the only one that wants to hang out with them, but like you want to marry someone that it's like they want to hang out with you too. And I think friendships are like that as well.
Yeah, I think
That's
so
so
too.
great. Okay, leading into our next question. Friendships can so many times feel like a competition full of comparison. How do I find genuine connection? That is such a
Yeah.
great question. And I feel like that is very, very relevant
Every girl
in
goes through that.
college. Yeah.
Especially in college. In my college experience, every single girl compares theirself to the next girl. Whether that be, oh, they're in a sorority that's stereotypically better than mine, or they have all of the cute clothes that I don't have, or like everything in their life just seems to be going perfect. They have the perfect boyfriend, they're in the popular clique, like they're so good at all the sports, da 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 da. You can compare yourself in however many ways that you compare yourself. I think every girl has their different ways that they compare themselves to other people.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I think that she's prettier than me, she has better hair than me, she's skinnier than me, or whatever. It could literally be anything. And a lot of that I feel like stems from every single person in college is like social media, like guru, everything is perfect, posting like the most perfect things. Even if you don't necessarily even know that girl or like
Yeah.
are really close friends with her, you're like, well, she's literally perfect. Like, why can I not be, like, why can my life not
Yeah.
look like her? But you have no idea what is going on behind the scenes or like what she might be masking just to post on social media to get validation from other people in the comments. Like,
Yeah.
you literally never know. And reminding yourself that you were fearfully and wonderfully made just the same as that girl was, and God took just as much time on you as he did on her.
He sure enough did.
And that nothing about someone else's life makes your life less than because it just looks different. Like the Lord is working through everyone in different ways, and just because your life looks different doesn't mean that it's wrong or that it's less than. I so many times in my college years compared myself, and my roommates know this, I would say this to their face. They know that I compared myself because all of them were in long-term relationships. And so they were dating the people that they have been dating since high school. Like, we're all very much ahead of me in that realm. So I was like always comparing myself like, well, why can't I find someone that like loves me as much as they love them? Or like they were spending more time all together because all of their boyfriends would spend time together. So like they would all spend time together as a group. So then, I was just like, well, like, why did that never happen for me? Or like, why can I not, like, why does my life not look like that? I feel like I'm behind, or I feel like I'm doing something wrong, or something's wrong with me because that's not what my life looks like. But just because your timeline is different does not mean that you're behind, and does not mean that something is wrong with you. Like, your timeline looks different because that's the way that your plan is meant to be, and that's okay. Like, that's a good thing. And I feel like there were blessings that I got to experience because I wasn't in that season of life. Like, I experienced things that I got to enjoy, or things that I felt filled my cup that I don't think that I would have experienced if I had been in the same season of life that they were in. So comparison is a very, very real and hard thing. And it's obviously like very prominent in girls, I feel like, because everyone wants to be like the picture perfect girl, have all the best clothes, and like just be so put together. But that's just like not realistic for us, and that's not realistic for like your mindset and for like your emotional like being in your mental state. So like it is hard in college when it comes to comparing yourself, but having to like take a step back and remind yourself that you are worth every good thing that the Lord has for you. And if that doesn't look like the girl next to you, it's for a reason.
For sure.
And it's because he's not done yet.
It's because he is not done yet. That is so true. And one thing that I was thinking about, I feel like when I was in college, I had a friend and she was like looking for friends. And her biggest thing all at the time that always so discouraged her was she was like, they already have their friend group. Like I'm not going to be able to be in their friend group. They already have their friends. And I remember being like, we've literally been here for 6 months. Like there's no way they're going to have the same
I have a
friends
story
in
on
2
that.
years. And then also at the same time, I remember I had another friend who just like worked so hard to get into this friend group. And I feel like that can be a quick thing that you can compare yourself to is like, who are you friends with and what friend group are you a part of? And I remember I'm like the most like chill vibes, no drama.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't want to hang out with me, I don't want to hang out with you
Yeah.
either. You know, like in
Like,
the best
that's
way.
fine.
That is fine. I'm like, I don't need
need that
another
in my
person
life.
in my
Yeah.
life. Yeah, like I want someone that like we just like to do silly things together. I don't want to have to
I need
yeah,
to be
like,
silly. I
don't
need
want
friends
to
to be
like
silly.
force myself into this friend group. Like I'm totally good not in it.
Yeah.
And I remember like watching my friends like kind of struggle with that and like literally like praying with them through that because I'm like it doesn't matter what friend group you're in, like God has just as much value and purpose for your life, whether you are in with like the popular girls or in like this sorority or like whatever it may be, like striving for that affirmation that being with like the cool girls give you is looking for your affirmation in the completely wrong place.
Yeah.
And God is the only person that you will ever feel affirmed and found in. And I think honestly that translates a lot to young adulthood and post grad is like this feeling of like striving to look like you're like in with people or that you're at this event or whatever it may be. And I'm like, that has nothing to do with your value. It has nothing to do with your level of greatness or who you are. And that just always makes me sad to like watch people kind of like struggle with like comparison in that area of life, especially in college. And I mean, you're like, I mean, I remember being in high school and like watching older girls on Instagram that like rushed this sorority or went to this college and being like, oh my gosh, like I can't wait to like be like them when I grow up. But I think if there's like any high schooler that is listening to this episode or watching online, like God has the perfect plan for your life when you graduate high school and go to college. I read this verse by, or this quote by Kristen Kane this week that she was like, God does not make the next fill in the blank, God makes new. Whatever girl, older girl, you are striving to be like, God will not make you the next her. God wants to make you the new you and the purpose that God has for your life. And trying to insert yourself into these friend groups that don't value you, that don't invite you to be a part of what they're doing, and you've had to text them for 9 months straight to get an invite to so-and-so's birthday party is like the stupidest thing I've ever heard of. And I'm like, why would you ever want that to like be your group of friends? But it's such a real thing for girls. And I would be lying if I said I haven't had moments of my life of seeing someone that I wanted to be friends with and being so excited I got invited to like that person's birthday party or dinner or whatever.
That's
and
so real.
I don't know, my life has taught me that like the most genuine relationships are not the ones that you have to strive for. They're the ones that God places in your life, and optimizing the friends that God's given you, even if it's like not the ones that you maybe like thought or wanted it to be. And I too have watched girls like neglect the relationships God has blessed them with because they want to be with the cool crowd more.
Yeah.
And that is also really sad to me too, because who's not to
Yeah.
say that the girl that you're neglecting isn't just as valuable
Yeah.
as the girl you're trying to like squeeze
Yeah.
in next to.
I feel like that is so real because I mean, even at times I could find myself like, well, like why was I not put in that like group, you know? Even if I was friends with some of them, like it was like, well, why can't I be in that group? But at the same time, that's me like wishing that I was somebody else, and that's like kind of like wishing away what God is doing in my life. And so like me striving for friendships like the popular crowd, like you said, is neglecting the people that God already gave me.
Yeah.
And I think, yeah, that's a really big eye opener. And you said something else that I was gonna touch on, but I forgot.
Yeah, it's just so real, especially in like state school sorority culture. Is like
Yeah.
you want so badly to live a life that looks like this person, and it's like, but God has a life for you,
Yeah.
you know, and
Yeah.
like it's better than you can ask, think, or
Yeah.
imagine.
So I have a story. So my one of my best friends, and she was one of my college roommates. She'll tell this story all the time. She was like, when we were freshmen, so kind of like I was a sorority girl, you know, like in college you're like I'm a sorority girl, and then when you get out of college you're like I was a sorority girl.
Yeah.
But anyway, so like your freshman year, when you're in your sorority, everyone kind of already like pretty much immediately finds their people, and some people don't, which is also like when comparison comes in, you're like, oh, everyone's kind of already got their group. Like, I don't have mine yet. I don't know who I'm going to be friends with. Da, da, da. So that was this girl. And she was like, she was kind of friends with like multiple people, but like wasn't in a group. And so she was like, after we became roommates, she was like, I literally always like wanted to be in y'all's group. Like I felt like she was like, y'all were so cool. Like y'all, like I wanted to be in y'all's friend group, but like just never thought that I would be because y'all were already so tight. Like y'all were
Yeah.
already so close. Y'all were already like the best of friends. From the outside, that's what it looked like. And she was like, I always wanted to be in y'all's group. She was like, I just never thought that I was like cool enough to be in y'all's group. Fast forward, one of my other roommates, they were in nursing school together. And so they like kind of got closer, and our other roommate ended up moving out. And so she ended up moving in with us, and we all became the best of friends. It wasn't because we didn't ever want her in our friend group. It was just like, it wasn't the time in the very beginning.
Yeah.
Like she had her time coming for us to all like grow together and like be best friends. And she was like, I can't believe that like I'm in y'all's
Yeah.
friend group. But I was like, we never didn't want you in our friend group. Like we never thought like, oh, you know, keep her out of it. It was like, we
Yeah.
just never like knew that she wanted to be friends with us because
Yeah.
she was scared that like we were already too close. So that's like an encouragement. Like it is never too late to like reach out to people that you think are too cool for you or like already too close. Like I feel like so many girls, at least that I know, are always like, yeah, like come on, girl, like
Yeah, for real.
like
If
you're
they're
totally
a real friend
invited.
that loves God, they will welcome you in with
Yes.
open arms,
And
girl.
so another encouragement besides the fact where you're like striving to be in a friend group that might not be meant for you, on the other end, it's like reach out to those people because you never know if they were like going to be so excited for you to be friends with them.
Yeah.
Like you never know. And girls, be a girl's girl and invite girls
That's
into your
right.
friend group, and don't be a clique and be cut off, because everyone could
That's
use
so
more
true.
friends, especially in college and post grad. Every girl's going through the same things, and it doesn't ever hurt to have more girls.
That is so true. Do not ever be a person that discludes other people.
Yeah.
Like, Jesus was someone who welcomed everyone in with open arms. Why on earth would I tell a girl that like she can't be in my friend group? Like that's just crazy. And I've never been like a friend group person. Like I have friends in like all the places. Like I've got like two here, two here, two here, two here. And birthday dinners are so hard for me because I'm like, well, who do I like?
I
How
know
do
one
not
girl
invite
here.
someone, you know, like I just want to invite everyone. But that's such a real thing, and you want to be someone that can welcome people in.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
I love that so much. Okay, last question. We are gonna ask the one that I think is so real and so powerful because it's just important no matter what season of life that you're in. But how do I find friends who are aligned with who I am becoming? How do I find friends who are aligned with who I am becoming?
That's a really hard question, and it's kind of hard to even figure out how you want to do that, because I feel like, especially a new post grad, even in college, if you're might be more mature than I was in college, but like if you're already trying to figure out how to align your friendships with who you want to be. You know, I was kind of the one that was like stuck in college. Like I was like, this is my college life. These are my college friends. And I wasn't ever like looking ahead, I guess, necessarily. But now it's kind of like I've outgrown that, and I am like moving forward into like the future and like who I want to be and who I'm becoming, and like the life that I live now is part of the reason why I am becoming someone new. Obviously, like whatever season you're in is kind of just like where you're at in life, and that's just like who you are. But when it comes to who you're trying to become and growing as an individual and finding friends who meet you in that and encourage you in the person that you're trying to be, you have to find people who are encouraging for the goals that you have set for yourself. I feel like a lot of people can be encouraging, but then at the same time be like, well, why don't you want to come do this with us?
Yeah.
And I'm like, well,
You're like,
I
because
don't,
of my goals.
because of my goals. And I'm not that kind of person anymore. That's not like, I don't find value in that anymore. I don't really find that appeasing anymore. So finding people that don't discourage you in your goals and your boundaries, but encourage you and walk alongside you in that. And finding people who, might be in that same season where they're like, we're trying to grow, we're trying to get better, we're trying to, we have different things that we value now. And if that means, people who don't have those same values, you like distance yourself more from them, and you're finding people who are kind of like walking in that same
Yeah.
path.
When I read this question, I almost want to change it a little bit. Like, how do I find friends who are aligned with who I am becoming? You can be running 100 miles in the wrong direction. Yeah. So I almost want it to be like, how do I find friends who can help, who are aligned with who I like want to become, And I think that begins with putting some parameters on like, who do you want to become, And you do not have to be a result of who your friends have been, of the actions that you have done, of the past that you did come from. Like, you get to choose who you want to become. And as a result of that, you have all power to choose friends that are aligned with who you want to be. So who do you want to become? Do you want to become someone who is plugged in at your church? Do you want to become someone who's driven? Do you want to become someone who's kind? Do you want to become someone who values people? And when you can know your values, when you can know who you want to become, at least a little bit of it, we're all going to forever be evolving more and realizing more who we want to become. But when you can kind of like put a face to a name of those things, that's when you can find people that you recognize those attributes in and want to spend more time with them too. And simple practical ways of that is like places, like going to places where people that are aligned with who you want to be are hanging out at, church, Bible study, small group, feel the smile. Like, you get to like physically choose those places. But I also think too, that all starts with kind of putting down like, who do you want to be? And I think even practically like writing that down, like taking time in your quiet time when you sit down and say like, God, like, who do I want to be, and like, who do you want me to be? And help me find people that are aligned with that too.
With that, I think there can be like we're people who like just have friends kind of like in every little realm of life, and some of your friends can be only because of certain circumstances where you're like, oh, well, we did this together every weekend, that's why we're friends. So like, if you don't want to do that anymore, and that was the substance of your friendship, that may just be like kind of left there because you don't want to do that anymore. I think a lot of people, like you said, like, you're finding people who are aligned with you and who are doing the things that you want to do or who you want to become. And so finding them in those places is pivotal, because you're not going to find them in the places that you were in, that you're wanting to leave behind, or that
Totally.
like the things of your past that you're like, oh, I've outgrown that, or I don't want that to be my life anymore, I want to leave that there. There are people you were friends with because of that, and yeah, it's sad to lose people, but at the same time, if they're not aligned with you and walking with you, you can't move forward if you're stuck in the past.
That is so true. And it's even like how the Bible kind of talks about like being unequally yoked in relationship. Like, why does the Bible preface that? Because like the example that that comes from is when you're plowing a field and you had two ox that were yoked together. If one of them's running faster, the other one can't keep up, or if the other one's going too slow, then the other ox is like dragging that one behind them. And you don't want a relationship that is holding you back from who God's called you to be. So has God called you to be? And I think that's an answer you all get to ask yourself. And how can you find friends that want to do that? Look for those attributes in other people too. So good.
So good.
Okay, well, thanks for your wisdom, girl.
Thanks to you.
All right. Thank you all so much for tuning in this week. I hope there was something that you got out of this episode to help you navigate your friendships in college, post grad. We even threw in some wisdom for the high school girls in there too. We're so grateful for you guys that you would tune in each week. We love you all so much, and we'll see you all next time.
Come find some new friendships at Feel the Smile.
Yes, come find them at Feel the Smile.